Hi, welcome to Pink Lion Podcast. I'm your host, Cindy Smuck, and today I want to talk about forgiveness. As we kind of are going through collectively as a country and as a world, actually, we're kind of seeing a lot of things happen. And I want to talk about forgiveness and how I learned to forgive, because I think that there's a lot of people that need to think about how they're behaving. And I think that people are unwilling to hear each other out. And I also feel like people are not willing to, I don't know, they're just becoming very intolerant. And I mean, I myself was like this before this whole thing happened to me. And I want to share with you kind of a story. It's in the book, and so it's not something that's totally private, but I went through some things with my family, my siblings, my mom, back in 2008. My mom was the steady hand for all of us for a very long time. She and my biological father were married, and then once, I don't know what, I don't even know. She doesn't ever talk about it, and quite frankly, it's just we were too young for her to have that type of conversation. But basically, she and my father split up, and she was immediately into another relationship with my stepdad, or it turned out to be my stepdad, Mr. Ed. After Mr. Ed passed, she went into another relationship and married another man. Um, that man, over time, I mean, he was pretty wealthy, and he was able to provide her with a life that she never had before. And so there were children that came forward accusing him of misconduct, of child sexual abuse. And she didn't believe the children. She believed him. My siblings and I stood by the children, and we no longer have a relationship with our mother. Even though he passed in 2014, she still believes that he didn't do what he did. Part of my mediumship journey was after my father-in-law passed and we went to a celebration of life. So basically last summer, not the summer that we just currently came out of, but the summer before of 2024, I came back, and I do a lot of journaling. And I would do readings as practice, because part of this whole thing was me wanting to understand what was happening to me, and then I wanted to be a voice for my father-in-law who passed. I'm sorry, I'm getting somewhere, so just bear with me. And part of that was learning the language, this new understanding, this new language, this new communication that was happening to me. And I really, my only motivation was to be a voice for my father-in-law, who could not really communicate very well near the end of his life. So I wanted to be the person who brought forward messages that he wanted to tell his family members. And that was my only motivation. But then I realized I was actually pretty good at this. And so when I was working with Victoria, who's my mentor, I I started to write things down. I started when I would, feel spirit or things would kind of come to mind. I would do this automatic writing, and I would write down everything that came through. Well, there was one morning I felt the need that somebody was kind of wanting to talk. So I put on my frequency music and I tuned in and started writing. And it was my stepfather who came through, and he was confessing, and he was telling me why he did it and how he did it, and that he basically lied, that I was right all along, or we kids were right all along, and that he lied to my mom. What is hard for me is when you are a medium and you're reading for your family members, it's very important to get it right. But sometimes it's hard because you know too much information. It is much easier to read somebody you do not know than it is to read people that you do know. And the reason for that is because you already have like a bias that's kind of already implanted, or you know too much information, so your brain, your human brain, can take over what the information is, especially when you're newer at it and you're trying to figure things out. But I had Victoria. So I actually had her read me at some point. Well, he started coming through to some of the practice sessions that I would be in with other mediums, and he would come through for them. And so I knew he had some important messages that he wanted to deliver. So I had Victoria read me. And when she read me, and I didn't tell her why, um, that was on February 14th, by the way, of last year, or this past year, of 2025. He came through and he was talking about throwing me under the bus and that he takes responsibility for the things that he had done. But he wanted the family to be reunited in love. And he had wanted to have me document everything and like try and reach out to my mom, which I did. And of course, she didn't respond. That's fine. That's her journey. But the forgiveness part. So somebody can hurt us so bad as a family and take our mother away and cause all this pain. It's like if the family got ripped apart. And if we can endure some of these traumas that we went through and we can learn to forgive, I think that we can learn to collectively, as a society, learn to kind of see each other differently. So I want to talk about drops of the ocean, the oneness of all of us, because I came to realize through meditation and through different readings that happened and just kind of turning more inward to myself, understanding that forgiveness was a key component in my mediumship kind of opening up completely, healing my heart. And I came to understand through a different couple things that kind of happened along the way in that time frame that we are all, once we pass and our souls return to heaven, to source, to whatever word you want to call it, we are all part of one thing. They call it the oneness. They call it source. That's why the spider web's behind me. We are all connected. Think about a chain link fence, right? That chain link fence has a bunch of X's and they crisscross and they're still intertwined. That is how we all, that X, that beginning X, could be you individually, but you're still connected to all the other X's, and all those other X's have different sections and all these different connectivity, even though we are a little separate. Another way to look at it is the ocean. The ocean is a vast thing. And if you take a cup and you take that cup and you dip it into the ocean and you pull out water, that's still ocean water inside the cup, even though it's separated from its source. And take a dropper, put the dropper inside the cup, and pull out a dropper full of that ocean water. It's still ocean water in the dropper. But now you have 3 separate sources, and on it can go. Once you return that dropper of water, ocean water, to the cup, and the cup of ocean water back into the ocean, it just returns to its source. It's still ocean water. That is us. And when I understood that as a truth, that is when I understood that I can't be separate from the essence or the soul of my stepdad. Think about that. People that are listening, I am not separate from you. I am you. You are me. We are all one. Even though we are individually having each of our own experiences here, you're still part of that one. And it's really important to understand that, because when you understand that, you can learn to let go of those emotions that you attach yourself to. It's forgiveness. And in that moment that I had that realization, I immediately forgave him. Not that I dismissed what he did, because that is obviously not acceptable, but I forgave him as a soul. Therefore, I released all that emotion that was tethered to me. And it was very freeing, and it was very, I don't know, I just let it go. And I just want to move forward and heal from it and learn from it and grow from it, right? And the same thing can be applied to so many different things. When somebody frustrates you, when somebody, when situations in the world feel so helpless, it's important to turn inward and to listen to your heart and listen to what comes to you. What do you feel? What are you hearing? What do you feel in that moment? Detach yourself from owning any negative response for just a moment. Remove it from you for a second and look back at it in the face and just be in that moment. And you'll see that it'll lose your power. It'll lose power over you. Because if you're struggling and you're reacting, good or bad, one way or the other, and you're not seeing things for what they are, which is basically to get a reaction out of you so that you can join a side one way or the other. There are no sides. We are all one thing. That is the truth. And so it is very vital for all of you to see that the reaction is the division. Hear me. The reaction is the division. When you allow other people to take that control from you, they have power and control over you. You don't have true freedom. And I want you to really think about that, because that's what's allowing things to happen the way they've been happening. And your neighbor and your friends and your family, they're not enemies. They're part of you. And in my experience, okay, I'm going to tell you something else. In my experience, there is literally only one emotion where we're all going to wind up. Call it heaven, source, universe, whatever. And that is love. It's the highest vibrational frequency there is. And you can react out of fear or love. There's only two choices. And every time you feed into that fear, that lower vibrational frequency, that energy that pulls you down, not good, Bob. But if you react out of love, that's where it's at. And sometimes there can be emotions that seem fear-based that are actually love-based, like grief. Grief is something that we can react out of from love. And there are, because it's so painful, right? Because you love them and you miss them. And so therefore it makes you sad. But that's coming from a place of love, not coming from a place of fear. So you have some choices to make as a whole. You can choose love or fear-based reactions. And forgiveness, that's loving yourself. That's saying, I'm going to release what is not mine and meant for me to carry. And I'm going to release myself of the pain that's attached to that. And like a balloon, you can just let it float up to the sky and choose to see things very differently. But I caution people allowing the news or leaders or anything else to garner reactions from us. And I will tell you, I had this download the other night. This download was like, downloads, I haven't even gotten into downloads or how they happen, but basically I'll get up, use the restroom or something in the middle of the night. I've woken up, so I'm still kind of in between that asleep and awake stage. I go to the bathroom and come back and close my eyes and boom, something happens behind my eyes. Like, it's like fast. There's sometimes faces, words, it's all almost like a neon glowy light. I don't know how to explain it, but this one was a lot of words. And then I heard somebody shouting at me so loud, which I translated to God or source. Could have been a guide. I don't know. I was not totally with it, but they were shouting, "Do not react." And they did say somebody's name. I'll let you figure out who that was. Do not react. And I took that to mean that the current state of things that are happening right now are causing everybody to jump from one side to the other. I'm not supposed to do that. We're not supposed to react. We're supposed to stay in a calm place and step away from the reaction and take a look at what is actually happening. and that reaction or the cause of the reaction is by design. So I know that probably makes me sound crazy, but if you really take a look at it and listen to that inner voice of yours, I think you'll find that what I'm saying is true. And this isn't going to be meant for everybody. Take what you will and leave what doesn't resonate, as usual. But I feel like this is a very important thing to say, and it's so important. My freaking refrigerator will not stop going off right now, out of the blue. It's just beeping, up, down, whatever. And I feel like when I'm going off course and I'm not supposed to be doing something, it's beeping at me. And some might say, well, it's just a beeping refrigerator. No, it doesn't usually do that at all, unless the cleaners have been here and set it off somehow. That's the only time it ever does it. But it's doing it this morning for some reason. So I feel like what we're supposed to talk about is pretty urgent, because that beeping drives me absolutely insane, but I'm not going to react. I'm just sitting here still talking to you, letting it kind of be, letting it be in my space, not letting it annoy me, and just talking to you guys. I don't know if I'm going to post this. Might have to clean it up. But I think I just want you all to take a breath, sit with what works for you, learn to forgive the people who have hurt you, and open your heart to something different. Love. True, pure love. That's it for now. Like, subscribe, share. I'd appreciate it. If anyone is interested in Pink Lion, the book, you can get it on Amazon. And if you're into ebooks, you can get it where any ebooks are sold. But Pink Lion is definitely available on Amazon KDP. You can get the ebook or the printed paperback or the hardcover available there. All right. Have a good weekend, everybody.